Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because honestly, we are looking at what might just be the ultimate cold case of human history. You know, we spend so much time deciphering the world around us, and we kind of just assume that with enough time, enough technology, or just enough sheer brain power, we can understand absolutely anything. But today, we are looking at an artifact that completely shatters that assumption. It's a mystery that has been sitting in plain sight for centuries, basically mocking the greatest minds of every single generation.
Seriously, I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine you're holding an actual physical book in your hands. You open it up, and the pages are packed with ink, perfectly straight lines of text, and super detailed drawings. At first glance, it looks like it should be telling you a story, or explaining a scientific concept, or maybe just giving you a recipe. But as you look closer, you realize that not a single sentence makes any sense. The strange symbols don't match any known alphabet anywhere, the words are entirely alien, you are literally holding an entire book of information that absolutely no one on Earth knows how to read.
And we aren't talking about some recent internet puzzle here, right? For more than 600 years, this book has kept its mouth completely shut. Over 6 centuries, the greatest historians, brilliant cryptographers, cutting-edge scientists, and elite codebreakers have all taken a turn trying to unlock its secrets. And for 600 years, every single one of them has failed. Nobody knows who wrote it. Nobody knows what it says. It is, without a doubt, the incredible mystery of the world's most mysterious book.
All right, Chapter 1, The Discovery. Okay, let's dive into this and look at how this whole enigma was actually brought out of the shadows. Our mystery starts just over a century ago in 1912. A rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich is digging through an ancient collection of manuscripts when he stumbles upon this strange book, completely unlike anything he had ever seen in his entire career. He brings it to the modern world's attention, and it eventually gets named the Voynich Manuscript, after him. But little did he know, he had just kicked off a massive timeline of frustration that would stretch from World War II code breakers all the way up to modern-day artificial intelligence. So here's the real kicker, the sheer scale of this artifact. We're not talking about a single cryptic torn page or some scribbled note on a wall. The manuscript contains over 200 pages, and every single page is covered with this mysterious, unknown writing system. And the crazy part? The text actually appears completely meaningful. The symbols look incredibly organized, flowing across the parchment exactly the way you would expect a real, natural language to flow. Yet, despite having this massive sample size of text to study, nobody can understand a single word. Which brings us to the bizarre illustrations and clues. As you flip through the pages, the forensic evidence left behind by whoever wrote this just gets weirder and weirder. The manuscript is loaded with bizarre illustrations that completely defy logic. We're seeing plants that literally do not exist anywhere in nature. We see stars and celestial diagrams that map out totally unknown skies. There are entirely unknown symbols scattered all over the place. And honestly, perhaps strangest of all, there are these bizarre illustrations of mysterious women standing or swimming in pools of green liquid, all connected by this intricate plumbing system. It's like someone took science, astronomy, medicine, and pure fantasy, threw them into a blender, and painted the result into a single book. So researchers have looked at one specific section that heavily features these botanical drawings and thought, okay, this has to be a medical guide, right? Or an herbal remedy book. But here is the massive contradiction, and it's a big one. If it's a medical guide, why are the plants completely impossible to recognize? Some of them look like bizarre Frankenstein combinations of several different plant species. Others just seem completely alien. And yet they are drawn with this incredible, painstaking detail. Why would anyone put so much effort into illustrating fictional plants in a reference book? Then you hit another part of the manuscript, and it's just filled with stars, moons, and massive circular astronomical diagrams that take up entire pages. Now, some of these kind of resemble the sort of medieval astronomy you'd expect to see from back then, but others, they look completely unlike anything known from that period. Researchers strongly suspect these pages contain information about the heavens, but without being able to read the actual text next to them, nobody can be certain. These charts really just add another impenetrable layer to the whole mystery.
So is it real or just an elaborate hoax?
For years, theories were just flying around about who actually created this thing. Was it a genius centuries ahead of his time? A secret society protecting hidden truths? Or maybe some alchemist searching for forbidden knowledge? Actually, a lot of people started to suspect it was all just a massive trick. But then, modern science stepped in and dropped a total bombshell.
Scientists performed radiocarbon dating on the physical parchment of the manuscript itself, and the results completely shocked researchers. The dating definitively proved that the parchment was created in the early 1400s. So the book was a real, ancient artifact. It absolutely was not some modern trick cooked up by Wilfred Voynich or anyone else in the 20th century just to make a quick buck.
Because of that dating, we basically have to weigh the two remaining theories. On one side, some folks still firmly believe the manuscript is an elaborate hoax from the 15th century, like a clever fraud created way back then to fool wealthy collectors of rare books. And it sounds reasonable at first. But, on the other side, creating hundreds of pages of perfectly consistent text by hand would require an absolutely enormous, maybe even impossible amount of effort. The writing isn't just random, meaningless scribbles. It actually follows strict statistical patterns. If it is a hoax, it might seriously be the most sophisticated hoax ever pulled off in human history.
Next up, the codebreakers fail. Because this thing looks and acts so much like a real code or language, it has naturally attracted the absolute best puzzle solvers on the planet. First, the world's top linguists studied it, digging for roots of known ancient languages. They failed. Then, elite cryptographers got their hands on it, treating it as a complex cipher. They failed. Mathematicians came in to search for deep, hidden numerical patterns. They failed too. Even battle-hardened military codebreakers, literally the very experts who broke complex enemy codes during the World Wars, became deeply obsessed, applied their best techniques, and completely, utterly failed to decipher it. Now, what's absolutely fascinating about this slide is exactly why all those experts failed, and why this text is so incredibly frustrating. The text basically taunts us because it behaves exactly like a real language. Notice how certain symbols appear frequently, exactly the way vowels do in English. Words repeat in completely recognizable patterns. The sentence structure follows actual observable rules. It has all the mathematical fingerprints of a genuine working language, but the actual meaning remains entirely locked away. It's literally like staring at a perfectly formatted paragraph and realizing your brain simply isn't allowed to read it.
Which brings us to the modern era. AI joins the hunt.
So human brains couldn't do it. We hit a wall. So what did we do? We took this delicate early 1400s parchment and fed it into the most powerful computational tools of the 21st century. Artificial intelligence officially joined the hunt. Researchers used highly advanced computer systems and machine learning algorithms to scan every inch of the text. These systems can process and analyze linguistic connections on a scale and at a speed that we humans simply cannot even comprehend, let alone match. The big hope was that the AI would find that hidden thread, that invisible pattern that human eyes had somehow missed for 6 centuries.
And the result? Well, AI definitely proposed some fascinating new theories. Some studies pointed to incredibly complex connections with known languages, while others proposed entirely new explanations for how the cipher might actually function. And yet, when all the processing was done and all the data was crunched, none of these efforts produced a definitive solution. Let that sink in for a second. Even our absolute cutting-edge modern artificial intelligence has failed to reveal the manuscript's true meaning,
Leaving us with the enduring mystery.
For now, the mystery absolutely survives. The Voynich Manuscript is just so much more than an unreadable book sitting in a dusty vault. It represents one of humanity's greatest unsolved puzzles. It's this brilliant, undeniable challenge to historians, to cryptographers, to scientists, and now even to technology itself. Every single generation looks at this book and thinks, yep, we're the ones. We have the tools to finally solve it. And every single generation fails. This unreadable text represents the very limits of human and artificial knowledge. It proves for sure that there are still secrets in this world that absolutely refuse to be uncovered.
Which leaves us with a deeply, deeply fascinating thought. Somewhere within those ancient, perfectly organized pages, a message might actually still be waiting for us. Maybe it contains forgotten scientific knowledge from the medieval world. Maybe it hides a secret language known only to a select few. Or maybe it records brilliant ideas that were just completely lost to history. More than 600 years after the ink dried on those pages, it remains unread, unsolved, and utterly mysterious. So I'll leave you with this. What forgotten knowledge is still waiting to be read? Until someone, or something, finally deciphers its secrets, it's going to remain the world's most mysterious book. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.